Well, there you are. You know, it's funny, or I should say ironic. We have just, my teammates and I, have just had a very interesting conversation. Some of which had already planned to bring out to you. Listen, what we have to understand is that we're in a very sad situation in this country. I look at Hispanic people, right? And I understand that Trump made deep inroads into the Hispanic community. And, you know, I was looking at some interviews on YouTube, right? And, you know, the guy was, interviewing people, saying, well, why did you vote for Trump? Oh, one guy says, well, I like him because, he means what he says. And the, reporter said, well, he says you're garbage. And the kid didn't, he really didn't say anything, right? He kind of looked at him. And it was like he had no answer for that. And then the guy said, well, what do you think is going to happen when they start rounding out immigrants? Oh, well, that's those people, the criminals. And the dude just kind of looked at him and smiled and shook his head. Because, he went on to point out that this same family, it was a gentleman, his wife, his son, I think his son was like 20-something, and a young lady there. I forgot if that was the daughter of the family or if that was the young man's, girlfriend. She was not, she didn't care too much for Donald. But the other three of them, they don't understand. When they talk about dismissing or chasing out Hispanic people, immigrants, right? They're talking about Hispanics. They're not saying, okay, well, we just want to stop the criminal ones from coming in, all right? That is the most dangerous and lame thing that you could possibly say. Because they're going to be walking down the street one night, and the next thing you know, they're going to be sitting in the back of a police car. And then after that, by the following week, they're going to be out here at Fort Dix, New Jersey. That's like a compound for where they hold so-called illegal immigrants. And it's like, you don't want to recognize that this guy is a racist. It's like, oh, well, that doesn't mean anything. His racism doesn't bother me. Listen, it should bother any decent American, okay? Because to be a racist, that means that you have to believe a lie. And that lie being that one person is better than another person because of the color of their skin. Now, I know that a lot of folks out there who watch this, oh my God, I wish he would stop talking about Donald Trump. Listen, let me tell you something. This is your country. You live here. Most of you, not all of you, but most of you were born here. When I talk about an American president that says that he does not believe in our Constitution, that should concern you, okay? Now, that son of a bitch said that my grandmother eats dogs and cats. And he won't even give my grandmother's people the respect to say, oh, well, they at least, they buy household animals for their own weird ceremonies. Okay, well, I can assure Mr. Trump that eating a dog or eating a kitty has has nothing to do with voodoo. Because, that's the Caucasian American thing. Them black folks down there in Haiti, man, they're, into that voodoo, you know? It's no more different than white folks in Appalachia that dance with snakes and all that good stuff. Ever see one of them churches there in West Virginia, what they do with snakes? But I can assure you, they don't steal their neighbors' pets, pet cats and dogs, right? They don't eat dogs and cats. That's the same racist garbage that they say about Asians. And I just wonder how any sane person could feel comfortable with a president that repeats that kind of garbage. What kind of intellectual capacity does that person have? This country was built upon the backs of immigrants, right? The main immigrant was sitting right in front of you right now, okay? It was folks that will look like me that built this damn country. Oh, and that's another bone I wanted to pick today. The leadership in the left community, or what do you want to call it? The community of the left, right? Black community in general. I'm not, I'm not one of these black folks that believe that you have to be begging for this and begging for that. Number one, to me, it would show a lack of dignity on my part, and it would also show the stupidity of the other side. How are you going to take people from another continent, bring them over here in chains, and talk about, oh, well, they should have their civil rights? Man, one of the problems that America has in terms of foreign policy, and most Americans, either they don't know it or they will never admit to it, was the racial situation that we've had in this country from the day we started. We want to lecture the rest of the world, human rights, how people should be treated. We get on China's butt about what are those people? They have like the religious thing, and we talk about China so badly, say, oh, they treat those people terrible, and there's no human rights, and remember, Tiananmen Square and all this other good stuff. Meanwhile, the rest of the world has been looking at you, okay, for the last going on 500 years, and how you had treated people in this country. You have treated them badly. Read Frederick Douglass. Now, he made that speech about the 4th of July. What does the 4th of July mean to me? That was in 1852. But I think it still holds for today. You know what the biggest problem you have in America? It's ignorance. It is pure ignorance. What do you call that? What was that movie? Did Bill Maher do it? I know he talked about it. Well, that's when he still had all of his senses, okay? But idiocracy. And that's what the danger is. You're going to have a small group of elites. Republicans like to use that word, elite. I don't think they really understand what it means, though. But we're heading for a small group of elites, okay, that will close themselves away in their little perfect neighborhoods, and you're going to have the masses of people of all different colors, right? And basically, they're going to look like dogs. You're going to have, what's his name? the son of a great man, Kennedy, he's going to be telling everybody, when you get sick, look up in the sky or, do a rain dance or something. And people will die. Because the thing that we have been doing for the last, well, I don't know, here in America, since the 1770s, now, lo and behold, Kennedy says, vaccine? Nah, it's no good. And people are going to die as a result of that. Just like we've had an outbreak, we've had a couple of outbreaks of measles since Trump first went in the White House because of these anti-vaccine idiots. We're going to smash our economy because you're going to dislocate millions of people. And I guarantee you the country, our economy will not be able to stand it. And you hear so many ridiculous things coming out of people's mouths. Oh, well, I voted for Trump because of the economy. Well, you're stupid, okay? If you're doing something or you're saying something that's stupid, then it's stupid. All you have to do, don't take my word for it. And I tell people, if you have any problem with something that I say, look it up and show me where I'm wrong. Now, everything that I study says that the economy was just damn good, thanks to Obama. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something. A couple of things of Obama I disagree with strongly. But for this country, for these people, he did quite well. He did not embarrass the United States. Leaders around the world will tell you that. Even our adversaries will tell you that. He was definitely not an embarrassment. But one of the things that he did not do when he should have, remember how crazy it was in 2008? Well, it was very crazy. We almost lost our whole economic system. But what Obama did, he gave in to the bankers, right? He gave in to the, to those donors, right? That give our congressmen so much money. What he should have done, he should have nationalized the economy. He should have nationalized the banks and put the banks under the control of the government. Now, I know some people might disagree with that, right? Well, I mean, you're entitled to disagree. But it would have worked out better for the average American. Because that way you didn't have some little 23-year-old punk running around Wall Street basically shooting craps with the health of your economy. So, no, Obama was not perfect, but he was pretty damn good. And that's to say that when Trump came into the White House, he had a good economy. So when people talk this nonsense about, excuse me, there goes I guess it's my hay fever or something like that. But when people say, Trump, he was great for the, no, he wasn't. And I keep trying to get people to show me in black and white why Trump was good for the economy. And they haven't done it. They can't do it. Why can't they do it? Because it does not exist. All right? The economy was good when Trump came in, and in 4 years, he almost wrecked it. He came damn close to wrecking it. And the way that he handled COVID was a disgrace because he caused people to die by the thousands. Because he told these people that, This is just a scheme by the Democrats to make us look bad. And people would not get vaccinated. I know, I spoke to these people. Those that were still alive, sorry to say. And that's not what you need in a leader. Now, you put a guy in, I'm so glad that my time in the Navy was done. My time was done in 91, okay? Because I would have a real problem if I was in the military today. They want to take women and put them all behind the desk as secretaries. You have women now who are combat pilots, and they're good combat pilots. And they want to, I don't know what, put them back in the kitchen. Or be some bed warmer for some general or for some admiral. And that's stupid. History goes forward. It's not supposed to go back. And that's the thing that really worries me the most. That's why you have more and more Americans who can afford it. They're leaving. They're leaving the country because they truly fear what Trump is going to do to our economy and to our quality of life, period. Now, let me ask you something. Ever stop to ask yourself why out of the whole world, and let's just talk about the Western world now. I think we're the only spot in the whole Western world our kids have to have drills. Now, when I was in school, we used to have drills. We had fire drills, and we had drills in case the unthinkable would happen, that unthinkable being nuclear holocaust. And that's what we had to grope with. Now, you go to school, you're sending your kid to school, there's no guarantee that, Danny or Brenda will be coming home that evening. And that's a very sad thing to say, but it's true. Hang on a second. I got so into my conversation with my two comrades here that, okay, put that on a timer, that I didn't set my timer like I usually try to do. But see, that's the thing. And I tell you something else too. I also hold the Democrats partially responsible for this, because you cannot wait until 5 months before an election and try and reach the man or woman on the street. Okay? Doesn't work that way. What you have to do, you have to basically set up workshops. You have to explain to people, what is this party doing and why? And yeah, it's a hassle. And you're going to, go to some town hall meetings, and somebody's always going to be an asshole. Hey, and you know what you got to do? You got to deal with it. You have to deal with it. And you have to say to that person, yo, I'm here to speak to all these people here. Now, if you got a beef with that, when we finish, set up a couple of chairs and we can talk. But that's what you have to do. You have to go out there and you have to take your lumps, because that's what you do in a democracy. And, some of this I also find to be, how should I put it? Some of it I find to be phony. This business about, the Democrats have forgotten how to talk to the working class. No, I don't think that's a large problem for the Democrats. I believe the problem is that the working class has forgotten how to read, quite frankly. You don't take the time to understand how your government works. If that government is not working to your satisfaction, well, who are you going to blame? You need to blame yourself. Because you haven't tried to make any input into it. You need to find out, where is your party at? Listen, if somebody says that the Democratic Party has fallen out of touch with the average man or woman, I would have to say, to a large extent, that's true. I mean, I look at my situation in the Bronx. Bronx is ridiculous. It really is. You had one good congressperson coming out of the Bronx. All right, what's his name? Bowman? Now, he's up there in the area like around Yonkers. You know, he was good. He was damn good. But because he took a stand against what the Israeli government is doing in Gaza and the West Bank, oh, well, they ran him out, essentially. And the Democratic Party did not come to this man's aid, okay? And I think that that's a damn shame, because as you can see, the whole world, I'm talking about the whole world, wants the Israeli government to stop the genocide in Gaza. And, it's so weird to me how America, how crazy our thinking pattern has become. Because, and it really, I'm going to tell you something. Let me tell you a little story real quick. I'm Bobby Gums, Robert Gums, however you want to put it, and because both of them are correct. My mom likes to call, you should like to call me Bobby. Okay. Now, I'm born and raised in New York City. I'm born and raised in Harlem. All right. Started off on the tenements of 112th Street in West Harlem. When I was 4.5, we moved to the projects, Grant Projects, right over there, 125th, 124th, 123rd, excuse me, on Amsterdam Avenue, about 10, 15 blocks down from Columbia University, and not too far down from Riverside Church, okay? I went to public school till I was in the 4th grade, and then I went to Catholic school. The rest of my education was primarily Catholic school. St. Thomas the Apostle. Well, the public school was PS 125. And then, like I say, in the 4th grade, I went to St. Thomas the Apostle over West 118th Street. And that was taught by, I forgot, was it the Dominican priest or Jesuit? Yeah, it were Jesuits. And also the Irish Christian Brothers and the nuns, right? Always the nuns. And if somebody would ask me my favorite teacher, it would have to be Sister Mary St. Raphael. Beautiful Irish lady. She had that, where was she from? A small town outside of Dublin. And she was my hero. Yeah, or I guess you should say she was my shiro. Shiro, yeah. She was great. She was the one that taught me never feel embarrassed because of your intellect. And if you're smarter than them, tough. Let them take the time to read just like you do. And she really, she made me feel proud of my, little academic achievements. And she was at that time, because, we're talking in the 60s, and she was a wonderful symbol of the American Roman Catholic Church, or I should say what it used to be. She was a great woman. She was a great woman. And then I had Brother John LeGrand, right? Irish-American gent, I believe he was from the Bronx. Uh, he has some interesting talk. He has some interesting takes on women, right? He used to say, you can always tell how a woman feels about you by the way she looks at you or away from you. Truer words were never spoken. He was a great guy. And we had Brother Vincent, and Brother Kevin was the principal, and St. Thomas the Apostle. And the marvelous thing about that predominantly black Catholic grammar school was that they gave you a world view. You know, well, hey, it's not just you in Harlem. It's not just you in New York. There's a whole country out there. And then on top of that, there's a whole planet out there. And they gave us a view, a window into the larger world. And I'll never forget that. That's one of the great things that I picked up in Catholic school. And then I did 2 years for high school at LaSalle Academy, 2nd Street, 2nd Avenue, Catholic high school. And it was kind of a jock shop, you know, 'cause the whole thing was about basketball. Football, not so much, because, you know, football is expensive, right? And very, you know, you need a lot of space. But basketball and track, LaSalle was, you know, we were good for that. As a matter of fact, that's how I wound up going to LaSalle Academy instead of going to the other Catholic high school, Cardinal Hayes, or Cardinal Spellman. Cardinal Spellman, I didn't feel like traveling that much. But LaSalle Academy, that was fun. That was interesting. But I don't know, I that whole jock thing, I was going to be pretty good. I was a great baseball player because of my dad. But then I started getting into basketball, and I was getting very good at it. I used to be able to make it from the half-court jump shots. But I had some personal issues with the whole jock thing because, you know, it just seemed that black people, or black men especially, that, you know, our job was to be athletes, which I already was an athlete. I just didn't, you know, I didn't like the idea of somebody telling me that that is what was expected of me. And so I, you know, typical thing, I started hanging out, left school, started going to public school, Seward Park. Any New Yorkers here, you know about Seward Park. Seward Park High School down the Lower East Side. And for about 9-10 months, you know, I basically hung out, chased girls, and then I decided to go into the military. And the first time I went in the Army. And I did about 2 years. Then after that, I came home, started going to college, went down south for a while, continued, you know, going to college, got married the first time, then came back to New York for about a year and a half, and then I decided to go back in the military. Only I was going in the Marines. But the recruiter was never there, so I wound up, thanks to this lovely Irish-American lady who was a Navy woman, and I decided to go into the Navy. And that was a real education. That was like getting a damn near PhD in what it taught me about the world. And it was cool, you know. I was stationed in Mississippi for almost a year. Then I wound up getting stationed, my first real duty station, on an aircraft carrier called the Nimitz, nuclear aircraft carrier. And I was what they call a reactor department yeoman. In other words, all of the paraphernalia, the paperwork, required to take care of a nuclear powered engine, I was responsible for it. You know, typing up reports to send to Washington, the whole bit. And then I wound up re-enlisting, and I got the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C., the palace, to an outfit called the Defense Intelligence Agency. And I had to get a background clearance. It took about a year. And because it started way before I left the Nimitz. When I left the Nimitz, we were right outside of Beirut, off the coast of Lebanon, and having to take off from the ship and then land at the airport, hoping that you don't get sniped at from the Druze Muslims up, you know, in those mountains surrounding Beirut, and flew all the way across the Mediterranean, flew back to the States, and boom, I was there. And I had what they call a cosmic top secret clearance, SBI. All the cosmic means is that if it's something that the president has to see, I'm authorized to also see it. I mean, who do you think types up all this stuff? All this stuff has to be typed. Nowadays, it's a little bit more technical because of computers. At that time, they were just starting with the computers. And it was, you know, it was deep. When I was on the Nimitz, a couple of times I thought I was going to die, because remember, we had always have a lot of hot stuff going on in the Middle East. We tangled with Gaddafi, we tangled with various terrorist groups. And when I got to the White House, I was assigned to a unit called JSOCs. And there were plenty of times I couldn't, the stuff that I worked with during the day, I couldn't come home and, you know, talk to the wife about. Oh yeah, I got married again while I was, you know, after I had gotten to DC. And so my primary duty stations were the White House, the Pentagon, with an occasional side trip to Langley and, you know, the CIA. So I pretty much have an idea about, you know, what the world is about. Then I made the greatest mistake of my life, or put it this way, the greatest mistake of my military career. I got myself assigned to a fighter squadron in Jacksonville, Florida. And let's say if it wasn't for that, hell, I'd probably still be in the Navy. I'd probably be an admiral or something like that by now. But I found something that you don't find in the Navy very rarely. But it was a very racist element. And the thing that really freaked me out, God, those people, man, they really came across like they hated Jews. And that's the first time I ever was exposed to real hardcore anti-Semitism with a strong touch of anti-Hispanic people. Because, I mean, they would say things like, what was his name? I think Rodriguez. Oh man, he was a good dude. He was supposed to be the office supervisor, but they just overrode this guy like he was nothing. And they would say some of the most nastiest things, you know, wetback bean picker. You know, I'm from New York, and I'm used to being around Jews, Latinos, and put it this way, it rubbed me the wrong way. And it really, you know, if I had been one of those people, you know, like some black people can see and hear the racism and just, well, I just ignore it, you know. But see, my problem is I'm half West Indian. And that's old school West Indian. And we have a tendency to run our mouths when we think we're right about something. And that's essentially what happened. You know, I made the proper complaints and what have you. And make a long story short, finally changes were eventually made. But by that time, I was just so emotionally spent, you know, dealing with the crap and hearing the crap. And, you know, I just got tired. And when I had the chance to re-enlist on active duty, I turned it down. I'm sorry I did it. That's one of the few things in my life that I do regret. I should have handled myself better, but I couldn't stand it. I think that's probably because, you know, I grew up, you know, watching the World War II movies and, you know, reading about the Nazis and the gas chambers and the concentration camps. And the way that they spoke about, the main thing they hated were Jews, Latinos, and women, especially women who were officers. And a couple of these people were married men, you know. You know, that whole right-wing garbage bag of things. And I you know, I just couldn't let a lot of that crap pass. Now, as far as the N-word, oh, that was used about me quite liberally. But see, they had the good sense not to do it to my face. But, you know, things would get back to me eventually. But, you know, I'm not going to go jumping, trying to snap a guy's neck because, hey, man, I heard you was talking, you know, calling me the N-word. That would have been, you know, to me, that would have been beneath me. A guy came close to saying something like that in the passageway, the hallway, when we were at our shore station. And I almost broke his neck, literally. Those were the days when I was in shape, okay? And I used to kickbox. And that's one thing that they were afraid of, but I wasn't going to give them, you know, that excuse to say, oh, you know, wild, crazy black kid from New York. But just that I had to go through that, it hurt me to my heart because I love the Navy so much. I still do. So I'm always, you know, you got to be careful when you make accusations about people. Say, oh, this is an anti-Semite, and blah, blah. You know, you got to be careful with that. Now, what I say next, somebody will say, well, yeah, he's an anti-Semite. And I just wanted to get the record straight, okay? That I think that people who are, you know, anti-Semitic people, somebody should tie them by their scrotum sacks and fire them out of the mouth of a cannon, okay? That's how strongly I feel about anti-Semites. Now, what's going on in Gaza, we have a quandary along those lines because, let's face it, American Jews have been of great help to black Americans in the civil rights movement, in the civil rights community. Many a rabbi, in some cases, got killed or got his ass whipped because they were walking with Martin Luther King and standing by what he said in terms of the right to vote, for example. So, I mean, I know who my friends are. And I know who my friends were, okay? It's just like you would not have black entertainers on the level that they are on today if it wasn't for the mafia. Okay? I know a lot of black folks are out there right now probably mad as hell at what I say, but I don't give a damn. Because the truth knows no color. And that's the truth. It was the it was the mafia that stood up to the Ku Klux Klan, especially in the South. Because, the speakeasies and all that, right? What you got? You got, black guy playing on the piano. You got black female singers, right? You got houses of ill repute where black and white people were mingling together. And it was the South. Oh, let's not forget the hooch, right? The liquor. Remember Prohibition? Which that in itself was an example of racism because they wanted to punish the immigrants, i.e. Irish, Italian, Catholic people, and Jewish people because of the consumption of alcohol, see? So, yeah, that's who a lot of these black entertainers, that's who you have to thank for it. Jews, Italians, and Irish, see? But now what you have with the situation in Gaza, I feel the same way that I felt when I was dealing with that anti-Semitism in Jacksonville. It's heart-wrenching. I'm one of those people. I believe that all people are truly created equal. I never cared for the slogan Black Lives Matter. The reason I don't like that, I will march with people who are saying it or carrying signs that say it, but I would not make a sign myself that says that. And the reason I would not is because the right wing, it's too easy for the right wing to basically denigrate that saying, because so you saying only black lives matter, right? No, that's not what was meant. But unfortunately, it's too easy to be taken apart. See, cops or the blue, their lives matter. Asians' lives matter. Caucasian lives matter. Black or African lives matter. Everybody's life matters, to my way of thinking. And I've always been one of those brothers. Sometimes, look at him with that white woman. I've never went in for that. A woman is a woman. And no offense to the ladies out there, but you'll find that there's the basics about women are universal. Okay? It's not the looks, it's not the skin coloring, it's what's in here and up here. See, that's what makes a woman. That's what makes a man, for that matter. And that's the kind of person that I am. So this business that's taking place in Gaza is very hard for me. It really is. I want American Jews, Jews in general, to also recognize, like you got a lot of these folks down south, right, that they're always to the defense of Israel, even when Israel is doing something that's totally wrong. And they'll come off with this, well, as Christians, we must stand behind Israel and blah, 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 right? But here in America, they hate Jews. They hate the American Jew. And the only thing that I can think of is that when they see Israeli people doing things to Palestinians, to the people of the West Bank, people of Gaza, right? Well, they're cool with that. These American racists are cool with that because all they're seeing, all their peanut brain is letting them see are Western European people blowing up dark people. I mean, in their mind, okay? I don't know where the hell these guys, do they know about Serbia? Do they know about Eastern Europe and Albania and places like that, where you have a whole bunch of Muslims with blonde hair and blue eyes? What do they call them? Circassians and what have you. But that's too advanced for their intellect to think about stuff like that, or to have any historical knowledge of circumstances like that. But all they see, when they see the Israeli Defense Force blowing up Gaza, they're saying, yeah, they're killing dark people. But here in America, they have nothing but hatred and contempt for American Jews. And I wish American Jews, those who call themselves conservative, those who call themselves today's Republicans, I wish they would understand that. You know, these, the same white working class men, right, who flock to the Republican ticket, these are the people who are the true anti-Semites. They are the ones who, talk so despicably about our Jewish people. It's not the president of a university. It's not the university presidents. It's not the younger people on campus who, talk so dirty about Jews. It's these white working class Christian Americans that are the ones flaming anti-Semitism. Have we forgotten Charlottesville? I'm going to see if they're going to do it again. Now, no, they've already had 2 marches since Trump won the election. I think Ohio and then Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. Anywhere up there, somewhere up there in the upper Midwest. I want to see if they're going to pull that same nonsense again after Trump is inaugurated. Remember 2017? The Jews shall not replace us. Remember that? Their scheme that, the Jews are bringing in the Latinos to take away the job from white males, which is a crock of, it's a crock, put it that way. But see, America, God, that will be America's downfall, ignorance, okay? Nobody's going to come over here like in a conventional war, say, and, like Pearl Harbor or something like that. I mean, if it is, it will be basically attacking the subway or attacking the department store around the holiday, something like that. But no, in a stand-up war, no, nobody's going to beat the United States. But America is going to allow itself to be eroded from the inside because of racism, hatred, and just blind ignorance. And see, that is a problem. And that is what Donald Trump is he is a symbol of, that ignorance that we have here in America. You know, this idea that nothing matters. Oh, they persecuted Trump. No, man, they didn't persecute Trump. They prosecuted him because he's a criminal. But see, this business about, well, Trump won because, people saw him being persecuted. No, a lot of times in America, unfortunately, people see what they want to see. Now, anybody my age, or maybe 10 years, 5 years younger, anybody who knows New York, who remembers anything from the 60s, growing up, knows that Trump is a thief, right? And they also know that he's a bigoted jerk. Seriously. And a misogynist and the whole bit. So I don't see, this is not news to anyone. But the problem is that Trump has basically given racism a license. The problem is that Trump has given misogynistic tendencies a license. And that's the problem that we have now. And see, what a lot of people don't understand, and I loved, oh my goodness, I tell you, dust is a bitch. But anyway, a lot of people don't understand that this is a different world. You hear people talk about bringing our country back or taking our country back. I have yet to hear one of these clowns talk about taking it back from who? From where? See, that's, the whole phony thing, talking about America first. What is America first? Are you saying that you only want to do policies that will work in the best interest of America? Is that what you mean to say? Well, if that's what you mean to say, then you are kind of stupid. And I'll tell you exactly why. Because if you live in a country, if you participate in a country, then it stands to reason that that country should be doing things that are in the best interest of its citizens. So by you saying, yeah, we're taking America back, okay, then who are you taking it back from? This might come as a surprise to you, but no one in America, no racial or ethnic group has been getting any damn freebies. You understand? And if you don't understand that, then either you didn't go through school or you probably cut a lot of classes or you just didn't get an education in the first place. It's just like, when they talk about, she was talking about Harris. She was a DEI and she was not qualified. What in the hell? Now, I think some people say this and they really don't know what they're talking about. Because God knows Trump was not, in my opinion, for whatever the hell that's worth, Trump was definitely not qualified to be president when he ran in 2016. As a matter of fact, everybody in his circle didn't expect him to win. And that's the way it should have been. Trump knew nothing about government when he ran in 2016. Well, I take that back. He knew enough about government, how to cheat, how to be wealthy and cheat the government. Okay? Other than that, he never served in the government. He didn't study the government. He studied the government in so much as, can I find a lawyer that can show me how to cheat the government at tax time? And that was it. He was a TV game show host, quite frankly. And his show really sucked as far as I'm concerned. Now, for those of you who enjoyed that, more power to you. But I never saw anything slightly enlightening about his television show. The man knows nothing. He had a debate with Harris, and he looked like a damn fool. I would be ashamed for a high school, for a person who went to a decent high school, if they gave the responses, some of the responses that he gave in that debate with Harris, he or she should have been ashamed of themselves. Because the only thing Trump did for that debate, he proved the truth of what a lot of people have been saying about Donald, and that is that he is as dumb as hell. But see, ingrained in this country is so much racism that people will say, oh, well, she was not qualified. How in the hell you first the DA, district attorney, just come on, man, you people look at law and order. Do you think you can be an ignoramus and be a prosecuting attorney for the state? I don't think so. Do you think someone like Trump could do a job like that? Again, I don't think so. And then get elected to be the state attorney general, and then a United States senator, and she is not as qualified as Trump? The racism, which is historic of this country, it is so inbred here in America that we now have elected our first idiot for president. And Americans, you will rule November 5th, 2024. It will come back to bite you, especially you people who are getting older and need Social Security and Medicaid and Medicare, while his rich friends pocket the resources that should be going to get our people to college, to get our people health care, to get our people decent food. That will be in the pockets of Elon Musk and his crew. So America, you got what you wanted. Be happy with it. Listen, same time, same place, same channels. Take care. God bless you. And thank you for letting me into your homes. Have a good one.